back on Sportsman Radio. I am your host, Chris Shanafelt, and I'm now joined by Shaun DePasquale of NFLDraftZone.com to tell us a little bit more about tonight's guests, Francisco Llanos and Harriet J. Thanks for joining the show, Shaun. How's it going?
Not bad. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, it's always a pleasure to speak to you, Shaun. You certainly know your football, and let's start off with Southern Miss wide receiver Francisco Llanos. What are some things you've seen from Francisco that caught your eyes?
Well, with Francisco, you go on YouTube. He's got a million videos out there. He's working hard. He's not just in games, but he's out there on the practice field, and he's actually he's recording it, and so you can go on YouTube and put in his name, and a whole bunch of stuff pops up, and so you can see what he's working on. With Francisco, he's got a great feel for the position on the spot, and he's he's working really hard, and you can tell he's perfecting route running, and that's the most important thing that a wide receiver can master. So in his case, he's working hard and developing in route running, and in my opinion, you look at Francisco, I see a developing Victor Cruz, and as a Giants fan, I've seen my share of Victor Cruz, and one of the things with Cruz, he's like a master tactician with the routes, and you can kind of see with Francisco that's what he's trying to perfect, and that's where he's developing most. So with Francisco, just what pops off the screen with him is his hands. He makes great catches away from his body. It's probably what I've been discussing with him. He probably does that better than Cruz, and like I said, the route running is just phenomenal.
Yeah, Shaun, and just like you said, here's a guy that works out just about every day based on his tweets and his YouTube videos. Like you said, he has like a million YouTube videos showing off his skills. He isn't afraid to work hard, and I know he's Puerto Rican. There is a comparison. It's not even based on his heritage, but like you said, I see a lot of Victor Cruz, and even Francisco himself compared himself to Victor Cruz in the interview, and it's kind of interesting because I look at his YouTube videos, I look at what he does in the games, and I do see a lot of Victor Cruz right there. It's really crazy. What are your expectations for Southern Miss wide receiver Francisco Llanos for this upcoming season, Shaun?
Well, the thing with Francisco is he's working his way up from walk-on. He got a scholarship, and he's playing more. But that's the thing with Francisco is he's not. He wasn't a highly touted guy coming up, so he hasn't had a ton of opportunities. He's really just getting them now. So as far as expectations go, I look at this senior year, and the sky's the limit for him. Really, and Harry too. You're discussing, they had Harry on too. Both of these guys, I told both of them, the ball's in your court. Sometimes, we're talking about the prospects, they just entered the draft last year. At the point where we're talking about them, their eligibility's done. Their senior years are done. With these guys, I say it, I keep drilling it. It's all in front of them, and they have a shot to do, whatever they can do. So obviously, like I said, my expectations for Francisco, hopefully high. It's not. A wide receiver can't do it all on his own. So, you hope that there's a rapport there with the quarterback, and if that develops, I think he's developing enough. He can have a big year.
And, you mentioned Harriet J. How about Adam State wide receiver Harriet J.? What are some things you've seen from Harry that caught your eyes?
Well, Harry, he's a big receiver. He's got the size 6'3". If you look him up, it'll list him under 200 pounds, about 180. He's up over one thing to be tall and it's another thing to be big, and it's good to be both, so that you're stronger and you can't get jammed as easily at the line of scrimmage, because that's all the defensive backs will do to you if you're not strong and they can throw you off your routes. So with Harry, it was just a matter of is he going to put on some good weight, and get stronger, and I think he's doing that. He's a big receiver. He gets downfield. He's playing at the D2 level. But at the D2 level, he looks like a man among boys. He gets downfield and makes great catches. He's got a flair for the spectacular catch. He gets downfield, runs good routes, and makes good catches downfield. He looks like a possible deep threat he could develop.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Harry is also a guy that is very talented, working hard on his days off. Just like Francisco, they're both working hard on their days off. Now, he compared himself to Larry Fitzgerald of the Arizona Cardinals, which I find is interesting. They're both taller wide receivers, like you said, Shaun. Harry is 6'3". He's gained weight. In the interview, he said he made sure it's muscle, 15, 20 pounds of muscle. Yeah. So that's always a great sign. What do you think about that comparison of Harry J. and Arizona Cardinals wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald?
Well, that's his style. He's a big receiver, and he gets downfield. He's got some tape out there, and that's what he does. Is he gets downfield, and he can beat the defensive back. He gets downfield and he makes good catches. So when you think about Larry Fitzgerald, that's what he's doing. He's getting downfield and breaking the defense. That's what Harry should be shooting for. So do I see that type of ability? I do. I see that. He does that. Is he going to be Larry Fitzgerald? I hope. I certainly hope. But with Harry, this is the thing with Harry. This is my opinion. A good person to point, a receiver to point out, would be Charles Johnson. He's just picked. I think it was in the sixth. I believe he was picked in the sixth round. If you remember, Charles Johnson, the wide receiver from Grand Valley State, he just completely came out of nowhere. And if you remember, Charles Johnson, it wasn't a really big name, and then maybe a month before the draft, Mel Kiper started talking about him, and McShay, all those guys, they just started talking about Charles Johnson, guy from Grand Valley State. And it's the reality for these guys is, when you got the film out there, and the more scouts or GM types, the more people see the film, as they become intrigued, and that gets out there, all of a sudden the Mel Kiper types become intrigued and start getting talked about. You never know who that's going to be. So, I'm not gonna write off, the guys from Adams State. And in fact, I'm gonna look for those types and try to identify that talent early. And Harry J. has that type of ability, and he's got that type of potential. 6'3" receivers, over 200 pounds that can get downfield and can catch the ball. They don't grow on trees. So I love his potential too.
1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns are Harry J's goal for this upcoming season. It's his final season. It's his senior year. And, of course, he'll be entering the 2014 NFL Draft. Do you think he could reach that goal?
Well, I'd never say never. You always want to shoot for the moon. You want to set the most expectations as you can. And that's good. That's a good goal. I mean, you shouldn't. I like to hear that more than I like to hear. Well, I want to shoot for 1,000 yards. I like to. You like to hear that. A guy's got high expectations of himself, and these guys, like you said, these guys are the type that are working hard, and they believe that they're going to be those guys that will break out of nowhere and become draft picks, and that's big. They have that belief in themselves. So, you never know. I'll never say never. Can he get 1,500 yards? If the quarterback can get him the ball, I think he can get 1,500 yards. I don't put that past him.